From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks, ETX rocks.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with the #1 resource for independent music. It's the ETX ROCKS show coming at you live from Longview, Texas. And this is episode number 315, featuring the one and only Miss Casey Baker from Denison, Texas.
Yes, thank you.
And she is riding a high right now, a number 18 single debut song on the charts. And we're going to be getting down to the basics with Casey Baker. But she brought her guitar today, and she's going to play us 3 songs, all original tunes to her.
That's right.
And the first one's called Life Has Taken Its Toll. So tell us a little bit about the song.
I'm 44, so I'm just going to open this up and tell all what I am. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. You know, I was a wife, or in the beginning stages, almost to the end stages now. You know, so I've lived a lot of life. Well, you know, what do you say? I mean, you know, I'm reaching the end of my marriage, and to a wonderful man, must I say. He's a wonderful guy. And but anyway, I've been around. I mean, I've had pain in my life like probably no other. I mean, I was not from a privileged family whatsoever, and it's just a hard life, you know. And as you get older, you hear these little cliches, you know. Oh, you better slow down. Life is going to pass you by, or you find yourself saying these same things that your parents have, and so I never knew what those things meant, you know. Mm-hmm. So here I am repeating myself to my daughter one day. I'm here because there's a line in the song.
And you've heard it before.
Yeah. And I'm like saying, and click, my daughter Emily, beautiful, sweet girl, but you know, she does things and it reminds me of me, and I would say that thing that my mom would say is, hey, you better slow down. You know, one of the things, she was walking out the door one day and she had, I don't know, she looked like she was up to something. And I said, hey, come back in here. She said, what? And I said, take off my shoes. Now she's a size 11. I don't wear a size 11. But the whole point was, I figured when she walked out that door, she was going to do some sneaky stuff that she would have done. So I found myself saying the same things my mom and grandmother would say.
And the line in the song is that you didn't realize what your mom was saying until you were 40.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what it meant until I was 40.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's true. And so here's the thing, guys. Most of my life lived in the past, or I lived in the future. But hardly ever did I ever connect and stay in the present tense.
None of us do. And
it's hard. It's a discipline thing. I was talking to somebody earlier about that, and it's about being disciplined and keeping yourself current. But I'm wore out.
Well, you got to remember that there's no time in the present.
No.
You have to remember that, because right now is the present, but now it's gone. It's the future now. Now it's the future again, and now it's the future again. So there's no way to just live in that present. Nobody's thinking about right now, ever. It's always what was and what will be, never what is.
Yeah, I think I got you. But mine, as I would go way out in the future. Mm-hmm. I would plan my marriage, my kids. I mean, I would go on.
Oh, I know somebody like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a planner, but yeah, I think it just wore me out, man.
Yeah,
I can never just be happy with what I was doing, and that's why I was just trying to. I mean, I had a fake idea at 14 years old.
It's just about learning to live in the moment.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cool song. When I was writing the song, I heard the tune, and then I thought, man, I want to write a song like that the Judds would sing. Mm-hmm. That's, you know, I get my inspiration. This is Winona. That's where I got this one, and I don't know. I wanted to write something about her mom and then her grandmother. And it's like a trio. You have my mama talking to me, then you have me talking to my daughter, then you got my daughter talking.
It's such a cool song.
Thank you. I wanted to do it from a different perspective, and so I wanted to push it a little bit. So.
And it's cool, guys. We're really excited to feature the song here for the very first time in the ETX ROCKS living room. It's Casey Baker, live and unplugged, with Life Has Taken Its Toll on Me. Y'all check it out.
Thank you. Well, don't you look so pretty, standing in your faded jeans, holding a cigarette in one Slow down, you're going way too fast. Life has a way of creeping up on you. You'll live the rest of your days in the past. What mama meant, I didn't get till I was 40. My life was sad, too many regrets to be free. Now I'm trapped inside this worn down body. Oh, life's taking its toll on me. Oh, life's taking its toll on me. Once again, here I am, saying I do. These photographs are all I have of a girl I once knew. I'm trying to show you what fast living can do. So now, my daughter, before your life takes a toll on you too, I can hear my mother's words coming back to me. Slow down, you're going way too fast. Life has a way of creeping up on you. You'll live the rest of your days in the past. What mama meant, I didn't get till I was 40. My life was sad, too many regrets to be free. Now I'm trapped inside this worn down body. Oh, life's taking its toll on me. Oh, life's taking its toll on me.
All right, so we are back again. It's episode 315, and every single time we do one of these interviews, most of the time, the artist will send us a filled-out questionnaire. We have a questionnaire we send out in hopes that the artist will actually take the time to fill it out, because it helps us frame an interview. And Casey, you had a lot to say in your questionnaire, but I picked out one sentence that I think really, really encapsulates who I think you are, and I really want to focus on that sentence.
Love it. Let's go.
The sentence is honoring the consequences of life. You said that in the questionnaire. This sentence is who you are, I feel.
Yes.
So I really want to talk about that and what it means to you. Now, let's talk about it. Honoring the consequences of life. That is what songwriting is all about. It's what creativity is about. It's what art is about.
Yes.
It's about honoring your experiences as a human being.
That's right.
That's what we're all doing as creative beings.
That's right.
But you've put it in such a way that I think is cool as shit. Excuse my language. But
Shit.
you've been through some shit.
Yes, sir.
You've been through a lot of life. You mentioned how old you were. I will never ever put out a lady's age.
Honoring.
Exactly.
I'm proud of what I am.
But it seems like every single step of your journey, something was leading you away from what you are now, which is a musician, a songwriter, a performer. So, and we talked off camera about how much you love music because it was instilled in you as a little girl from your mom and dad.
Escape.
But yet, as an adult, everything has led you away from music until now.
That's right.
What is it like for you to have something now? I know you've probably gone through some depression and things like that, because when you're a creative person and you can't tap into that, it's misery, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you doing in the meantime? Are you just living life? Are you just kind of wallowing? I mean, what's Casey Baker like in those times?
Well, I mean, I think I was like that my whole life. Like, I mean, I always tell a story. One time I was 3. I mean, I talked to God like I'm talking to you. Like I've always had a connection with God or a higher power. What people, whatever they want to say, I know what it is.
Right.
But I did. I've always talked to Him, and so I was kind of a loner. I find myself going off in the air and just talking and with my best friend. And through my whole life, I think I always, we say call it depression. I think I was just more in tune with my thought and my purpose. Like I'm telling you, at 5 years old, I remember very vividly that I'm sitting on the bed with my dad, and I remember my sister and I watching, because he was a honky tonk guy, and he would go out and play music, and so I knew when I would watch him, and I would walk that great guitar, and I'd be like, I want to learn how to play the guitar. I know that once I learned, I just almost like a vision. I knew if I started playing that guitar, I was going to then write some songs like my dad, and I was going to be like my dad, and so through that moment, I went through choir. I did everything I possibly could to make sure that I was around music because it healed me. And my mother left us, and God, she's going to watch this thing, but she did. She was 15 when she started having kids, and, her and my dad did not get along, and so she left us at a very young age, and then my dad married these stepmoms. I mean, they were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. And so that was a fight, and then we got, pushed around different family members throughout the way, and they had kids of their own, and sometimes you just don't, don't fit in there either. Yeah, you don't fit in there either, and you never really have a home. I think I moved probably 20-something times between the time I was born until I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
And I wasn't an Army brat or a military brat. It's just we moved all the time. We never had a stable home.
It was a divorce brat, basically.
Yeah, it was painful on us, and so I learned very very early in life to mold. Remember we talked about that earlier, is to mold around to what I thought people want me to be.
Kind of being a chameleon.
So they could keep me, so they would not throw us away, and so I had to deal with all that. So I always thought that was probably my depression side or whatever, but I don't know. I think it was just a place. There's a place inside of me that I keep very secret, and it's where God lives.
And were you a daddy's girl?
I was a daddy's
girl.
girl.
I figured as much.
I'm very proud of my father. He worked very hard to take care of us.
So it sounds like your first love was your dad.
He is my first
And
love.
maybe your second love was music.
Absolutely.
And from knowing a little bit about you, it always seemed like you had two loves. It was always whatever it was, your dad, later your daughter, and music.
Yeah.
Music was always there.
Music was
the
there.
first love changed, but music was always there.
Music, yes, because I hid it.
Mm-hmm.
I kept that thing. I told you when my daughter passed away earlier, and we'll probably get to that second, or maybe I don't know, but I had a daughter at 19 who passed away, and from there, I put music so deep inside me and protected it because it was the only thing I had left.
Right.
I didn't want to go back home. I didn't want to be with the guy that I was with that had baby with. I didn't know what the heck to do. When you put your daughter in the ground, what the heck do you do?
Mm-hmm.
I slept a lot of nights at the cemetery. I read children's books at the cemetery. I literally went through a crazy stage at 19 years old and didn't have a purpose. And so this man, he's a wonderful guy, y'all. He met me at 19. He took me, and he was like a father figure. He was like 10 years older than I was. And I know it sounds gross, but it wasn't gross. It was completely, it does. I mean, there was nothing hidden right there. But he took me and took care of me and gave me a safe place to be. But the thing is, what happened, guys, and this is a lot of thought came into this. What I was before my daughter passed, I wasn't when she passed. And I wasn't whenever I woke up. And I wasn't that same even person when I was 25. Mm-hmm. So when I came to that realization that he married somebody 2 decades, two lives before, it was unfair to him because I didn't have those feelings for him. I found that he was more of an insecurity or a safety net. Than
I feel like, living your life as someone who rapidly had to change your wings. I mean, every single move, every single tragedy, everything that was happening to you or around you was changing the mold. It was changing who you were as an individual. Yeah. So when you finally woke up and knew who Casey Baker was, it had to be
it hurt,
like earth-shattering.
It hurt. Because here's what happened, and as number 7 on this album, When the Party's All Over, it's called You're a Good Man. And that's the one I wrote for my husband. And it's God. I robbed him of his best years because I realized I realized I wasn't in love with my husband the way that I needed to be in love with him, give him everything. And I was confused. I didn't know if it was because I was so screwed up from my childhood, or I just didn't. I'm not the same person.
Right.
Something changed. I didn't know what it was, but I did know this. It was wrong for me to know it was never going to work out and hold him captive. Mm-hmm. I knew that would be wrong, that he was young enough and had more life in him to give to somebody else. And if I might have regretted it, but it was worth me to let him go to go find something wonderful for him while I could figure out my shit. I could figure out my stuff. And that's what I did. I said, you know what, if you listen to number 7, and I know you're a lyric guy, it's one of the lines. It's like, I've taken all that I can. I've taken more than I should. I've taken more than I should, given more than I could.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it really came down to say, you're a good man. So anyway, but yes, back you said is
that's kind of a realization right there too.
Oh my God!
Because I mean, when you're wrapped up in your own feelings like that, you're dealing with so much crap within yourself. It affects everybody around you, and a lot of times you're so wrapped up within yourself, you can't realize the negative effects you're having on those around you. So when that realization comes to you, "You're a good man" gets written. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, and that's how I released it. And I will tell y'all this: you talking about hurting? That song ripped me to shreds, because to know that you could have stolen someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to hurt anybody. You don't ever do things like that purposely. But I knew that I had to let go of him. It hurt, man. And I had kids. We had a life. We had a house. We had a boat. We had cars. We had everything. But I will tell y'all this: I honored it till my daughter went to college, and I told him months ahead of time. I did everything I possibly could. I gave him the house. I gave him everything, because he kept everything. And I'm very happy he did. He deserved every bit of it. If he would have saw what he had to deal with at 19, I don't blame him. He deserved every bit of it.
Yeah.
And so he's a good man, and I wish him the best. And he will be my best friend till the day I'll leave this earth.
So we've talked a lot with Casey off camera, and I'm super blessed that we did, because it's going to help us really get into the cruxes of who you are and who you became.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about tragedy. We're talking about the love being smothered out of music, just completely snuffed and deep within you.
Yeah.
We talked about God as well. It's come up a little bit here on the episode as well. So through all of this time, 19 to 29 to 39 and we haven't even gotten to talking about your grandma, taking care of her. So, 2010, you start writing songs.
I did.
You had to put it back on the shelf again. Why?
Well, first of all, by that time, I literally was, my blood pressure was high. I thought I was about to die. It literally, you keep in all this pain, and it just eats at you. And so I had to find an escape. And so as soon as my dad's new girlfriend, who was Irma, beautiful woman, she learned how to play the guitar, and so I thought I could do it. She's a female, she can do it. And I did that, and it started to kind of like seep little stuff out. So I got really addicted to it. And then grandma, I told you guys earlier, my dad married this stepwoman. Well, my grandma was always the one that came in and saved us every time, life got too hard. And so when Granny got diagnosed with dementia and all this other health problems, I've always been that one, the caretaker, my whole life. I will always drop whatever I want for the sake of somebody else, and never regret it, and I still don't regret it. But I did. My whole family took her in, and for 7 long years, we dealt with dementia. It's not pretty.
And I'm just wanting to frame kind of your life for people out there who may not know, because your music is phenomenal. So I want people to know where that came from. Yeah. And so we have to frame it to losing your daughter. Yeah. Dealing with caretaker issues with your grandma, and every time it's Casey's own love that gets sacrificed.
Oh, you picked that up.
Yes.
So here's the thing: I was a youth minister. I took in kids from off the street. I did everything I could to make sure. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking why. I think everybody. I knew. Okay, here's the truth. I think because I knew God was going to put it back into my life, and when He does, He would have cleared everything out.
It's so funny. It's so funny that you go there.
Are you about to go there?
This is where we're going. I mean, you just brought it up, because there's 2 things that are happening here from an outsider. I don't know you that well. We just met. But from an outsider, I'm seeing Casey Baker putting to the side everything she cares about to take care of other people's needs. I'm also wondering about your strength and love for God at this point, because everything seems to be stretching you to your limits all this time. So was there any frustration with God? Because as a creative person, as we started the show with, a creative person just can't stop being creative. It's not that simple. So was there any blame game going on with God because of having to always sacrifice your love for music? Was that ever prevalent?
I will say the true goddess answer is no. When I told you earlier, Chris, that I had God since an early age, I knew something at 5 years old. God spoke to me. What I was going through at 5 was a very difficult time. And I remember asking God to make things stop. I just can't. People might think that when you're a kid, you don't know what's going on. You know what's going on. You somehow you know. And so I would ask God to please make things stop. And one day, I remember, I'll never forget, God said no. I heard it loud and clear in my head that it would be a testimony for the times that what's going to be coming down the road. And so when I view this, everything, when you say honoring the sacrifices and
the consequences
of life, that's what I mean. I don't receive things and say, God dang it, God, if you would have just done it. No, I believe that God doesn't do anything to hurt me. It's to help me and to grow me, because it's not about Casey anymore. It's about you all. The music I have is not about me. It's about you, and it's about his relationship with you. And it's not even my music. I can't even claim it. It seems very selfish of me to claim it. Everything he's ever done to me is for this. It's like a sacrifice, right? It's like sacrificing because he knew I was always going to be with him. I would never leave him. So there you go, your answer. Is no, I did not, and I welcomed those distractions or whatever to come in my life. Did I get sad? Yes, to the point where I'm laying in a bathtub one time and I'll never forget this. God, I don't want to live anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. You know, my son had issues, my daughter had issues, my husband had issues, my grandma had issues. I got people coming off the street who have issues. I got issues. And you get that point, and you're laying in the bathroom and say, I just don't want to do it anymore. I can't. And I get out of that bathtub and I walk into my husband's room and I said, when Emily graduates, I think I'm going to have to leave. It's either you or me. And I think it's going to be me.
And so we talk about present. And we're in the present now. We're here where the marriage is pretty much over.
Yeah. And
now you can focus on the music. Now we're talking about 39 years. I mean, 5 years old, you knew you wanted to be a musician just from seeing what your dad was doing. This is what you said on air today. So we're talking 39 years of a waiting process for your creative juices to finally be shared with the world. Yeah. And now here we are in that present. So what's Casey Baker like now?
Okay. I am driven. I do everything with purpose. There is nothing I do to spend my time, and I won't waste anybody's time, and I won't be wasting my time. And I know where I'm going. I know, you guys, you were talking about God, Chris. Here's the thing. I have 5 albums that I've already tracked. Almost 5 albums. I'm writing on my 5th one right now. And it's already in the studio. It's work. I'm not. That stuff is not me. When you hear some of the stuff that's coming on, it's like, whoa. You got your blues, you got your folk, you got your rock, you got many different genres. Still got that country rootsy sound. But when y'all hear it, I think you're going to understand what I'm talking about. The Casey Baker that I think is sitting here before you today is someone that is driven, that is going to do everything she can to make sure you guys get the music that God put in me. And so when I leave this world, it belongs completely to you.
And I think that's incredible because little do maybe some of your fans know, maybe they don't, that you basically turned the music off in 1994 due to the passing of your daughter.
Yeah.
Didn't listen to music for 14 years.
Don't remember. Yeah.
14 years.
Yeah. With
no music.
Yeah.
So for a creative person that ends up being a songwriter later, obviously you're not a songwriter yet. That comes in 2010.
Well, I wrote one little pity song, but no, I was not a songwriter. I wasn't.
So 14 years of no inspiration, no influences, no experience with what's changing, what's happening, what's the in
totally
thing.
Shocked when I turned on the radio.
Nothing like that. So you've got an entire generation of music that you missed out on.
Did.
Okay, now you're sitting in 2008, 2010, and you have to learn everything again that you thought you knew about music. Fast forward 9 years, now you have to sell music. Not just financially and marketing, but just on a connection, a person-to-person connection with people, without having that experience. Has there been a struggle with that?
Some people say when I went to the studio, because I worked with some of the greats. You know, I told you Milo Deering. God did not have me any punks. He made sure that I had everything I needed inside of a studio, and so no, I think I did things backwards. I think most people, right? They garage band, they write some songs, they get a band together, go play, gig it out, then they go to this album. I didn't do that. I stayed in my bathroom, wrote these songs, trying to get the pain out, and then I went to a recording studio, and they heard one little song. It was only me, And they're like, you got to make an album.
One little song, number 18 in the state.
Yeah. One little
song.
song. And he's like, well, you got to do an album. And so that's how it all came together. Then stage one, that was stage one. Stage two was fighting. How do I put myself out there? That is my story. That's my life. That's not easy to do. And then you did that. So that's two. And now you're like, then, truth, my very first time playing live with a full band by myself was on my release party, January the 11th.
Mm-hmm. This year. 2019.
And
we're sitting in April. That's 4 months ago, dude.
Yes. My very first live performance singing those songs on that in front of people was January the 11th, 2019. And then I released our debut single in February the 8th. And here I'm.
And the record came out the 19th.
That's right.
2019. So you wonder where Casey Baker was all this time. None of us knew that Casey Baker existed.
Yeah, Milo
until
goes,
January, right?
No. Milo Deering goes, Casey, because he's like, he was blown away. He goes, I'm a fan of yours. He goes, where have you been? And I'm like, living out consequences. That's what I had. That's what I've been doing. And guys, and it's not every consequence is bad. Every time you make a decision, there's a consequence to that decision. Mm-hmm. And so, but like we were talking about earlier, this is the time. And how do you know it's time? And how I know is because the doors are flying open. Mm-hmm. Like meeting you, that wasn't happenstance. That was.
Are they all flying open?
Yeah.
There's no obstacles. Right
I think here it is. I think there's big systems in place that God's going to have to move around. And I'm not saying I'm a number one artist, but I have 5 albums I want to put out, and I'm not slowing down.
Right.
And it's like I said, I'm going to make sure you're going to get it. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what happens.
I love the fact that in the questionnaire you say in there you're so self-aware of not just who you are but what's working against you, because everything in the industry says that Casey Baker's age, appearance, everything is not what people want to hear and see.
They do.
But yet here is what they want to hear and see, right? So you're self-aware of that.
Very.
How much is that building your insecurities? Are there any? Because I don't see any in you.
I don't have any. If I have them, they're hidden. Again, it comes down to understanding what my purpose is. My purpose is just to give y'all the music. I never was meant to be a supermodel. If I was meant to be a supermodel, I'd be a supermodel. I am my best when I am myself. Why do I want to cheat y'all from seeing who I am? If you're not going to like me, then I'd rather you not like me for who I am. Mm-hmm. Right?
Marilyn Monroe once said, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Pure wisdom.
So that's Casey Baker in a nutshell.
That's me. And okay, I mean, who wants to be told that you're not good enough, whatever? No one wants to hear that. But I don't think I have to worry about that. I think God's got me, and I think the people like you guys being here with me, I think I'm fine. I don't really.
It's good stuff, man. It's really, really good stuff. The album is When the Party's All Over.
Yeah.
And debut album. It's been out for 4 months, which blows my mind. There's 10 songs on it. The first single on it is It Was Only Me. It's number 18.
Yeah.
There's more singles on this record. I know you have 4 others that you've written.
Yes.
But please give this
record.
No,
Chris, I plan on everything.
What's the next single? I want to know.
Well, we're going back and forth on number 10 and number Life Is Taking a Toll, so I Want You to Want Me to Stay. When the Party's All Over. That one, I reached out to Willie Nelson. You know, that song there, When the Party's All Over, I wrote for Willie and Waylon. It's, you know, the song, She's a Good-Hearted Woman. Mm-hmm. My dad would sing that song, so I would listen to the lyrics. I'm like, I have no idea what this is saying. But as I got older, I was that woman. So I thought, heck, she wasn't a good-hearted woman. She was just broke down. You know, she just kept on taking them back and forth. So I thought I want to write a song for her. So When the Party's All Over, I would love to do it with either Lucas Nelson or Willie Nelson. And so we have people reached out to them. So hopefully they'll listen, please.
I might have another idea for you.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Things are fun. I'm open. I really don't have a plan.
Just let me give you a different possible avenue that I might be able to facilitate too.
Okay.
Willie's tough. But I know somebody else that I think would be interesting on that song that has the same kind of connection that Lucas does to that song. So.
I'm good.
All right, so it's Casey Baker. It's episode 315. She's going to play a second song, and the second song is the current single, It Was Only Me. Tell us a little bit about the song.
It Was Only Me was basically just me trying to realize when I did wake up from my daughter's slumber and trying to realize who I was. I think I wanted to... here's what I knew. I did not want to repeat the same mistakes as I did before. So you take your life and you start analyzing how you did it, and that's what I did. I said, I held on things way too hard, and you could say, like I told you before, it wasn't just about holding on love, it was about holding to your past and the people who've hurt you, and I needed to say, I let it go. And I think at that moment, when I told you that line before earlier, and I will say it again, I know you can't give what you don't have. That really was so damn profound in me, because people just don't have it. You can't.
Well, I can tell you right now, it would have to be profound, because this song was written about your daughter, for the most part.
Yeah, letting things go.
Your daughter passed away in 1994, is that correct?
Yes.
You wrote this song in 2010.
Yes.
That's 16 years that line was still in you. So it better be damn profound.
Well, yeah. Well, it was written about this sailor boy, speaking of sailors, because, you know, he hurt my heart. But it was really about my childhood. It was about everybody who's ever hurt me, or my daughter passing away. Yes. So in a nutshell,
16 years between the experience and the time you
wrote
wrote
the song. It was just leaking out. It just had to come out. No, you can't kill me.
That's crazy, though, that you could. I mean, they say time heals all wounds, even the most earth-shattering wounds, like the loss of a child, are not going to be as crisp and fresh 20 years later as they were when they just happened. You're still going to hurt, but possibly not as fresh. So living in that moment enough to write a song like that 20 years later, that's really, really talented.
When I say I held on to things, y'all, I slept with her picture 13 years. If you saw that picture right now, what it looked like, you can't even recognize it. I held on to her. She was all that I wanted and needed in my life to make everything right. And
so you held on to her even through the birth of other children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When I first held that young, sweet baby, I quivered so violently that you could not believe. It was just like I was being delivered or something. I don't know. I couldn't control it. It was more love than I've ever can fathom. It was my home. It was everything that I wanted as a child wrapped up in a moment. And then 6 days later, I had to let her go.
I think it's serendipitous that the first single honors her.
Yeah, it honors the whole principle of it. Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah. And so we're excited to show you a live and unplugged version of the first single of many, I promise, from Casey Baker. It's called It Was Only Me, live and unplugged right here in the living room. Y'all check it out.
Don't bother running, not gonna chase you anymore. I'm moving on. Don't bother calling, not gonna stand here by the phone. Waited too long. Don't worry about me, consider me gone. Please don't feel bad. No, you can give what you don't have. I'll be alright. Please forgive me for taking this long to realize I was too blind. I have no regrets, just a lot of wasted time. Never once did I believe that you never once really wanted me, but now I see. Never once did I believe that you never once really loved me, but now I see it was only me. Looking back through
All right, guys, it was Only Me, the current single by Casey Baker, number 18 on the charts, live and unplugged here in the ETX Rocks living room. First of all, I got to thank you for being here on the show. I think it was very, very serendipitous that we met, first of all.
Nice.
We talk about God's timing.
That's right.
And I think Casey and I know each other because of God's timing.
That's
and
right.
a little bit of reassuring from Keith.
That's right. That's right.
A little bit of pressure from Keith.
Yeah,
it's cool for us to know that there are people like Keith out there that actually watch and listen. And I have to be reminded every now and then that there is an audience out there. We're not just talking to a phone.
Yeah, he watches you.
And it's cool.
Yeah, and he puts a big old approved stamp right up on your forehead.
Very cool. And that's why you're here. I hope we did you proud.
You did me greatly proud.
And so if people are hearing about Casey Baker for the first time, I imagine there's a lot of them out there because you just started in frickin' January.
Yeah.
You're trailblazing the state right now.
Trying.
Where can folks follow along?
You can follow me on Facebook at Casey Baker Music. You can go to Twitter. You can go to Instagram, Casey Baker Music. Or you can download our album on Spotify, at iTunes, Amazon, such and such. You can go anywhere you want to get that. Or you can go to www.caseybakermusic.com and purchase one of our albums there. And I'll be happy to sign it and send it to you.
And we will put a link to... Yeah, we'll put a link in the description below to CaseyBakerMusic.com. Yeah. That way you can just click on that and you can get... It's a one-stop Casey Baker shop. Because you have merch, too.
Yeah, we do, and we have that's on the new website that's coming out soon. But yes, we do have merch.
Okay. And for you YouTubers out there, she has a YouTube, I think, as well.
Yeah, apparently someone put up a YouTube Casey Baker. Yeah. Casey Baker Music.
Well, I think what happens is the publishing companies for the record...
It does do
They
that.
put it on there like they would for Spotify so people can stream it on YouTube.
That makes sense. I was wondering. You're right.
So make sure you subscribe to that because the record is on YouTube as well.
Awesome.
That's where I was listening. Each of the songs has a couple hundred views, and I'm probably half of those at this point.
Oh, thank you very much for your contributing views.
If you're a fan of Casey Baker or you just became a fan of Casey Baker, I think one way or two ways you can support Casey. And I love to say this because it's almost cheating the system.
Okay.
I found a cheat.
Okay, wait.
So what you do is you buy the record, right, when the party's all over.
Sure.
Buy it. Download it on iTunes, Apple Music, wherever you can get your media. Download it, put it in your phone, and then just forget about it and go to Spotify and YouTube and stream it instead. And then you've purchased it and now you're streaming it, so Casey's getting money both ways.
Wow, that's really very thoughtful. You planned that out.
Yeah, planned it out. Trying to beat the publishing companies or the Spotify's and all. I'm not a big fan of Spotify, and I understand.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, I understand the need for it now in the 21st century. I just don't know if it's going to be something that's ever going to be beneficial to the songwriter.
Yeah.
In any kind of noticeable way, other than getting your music out, which seems to be you're okay with that.
Yeah, like I said, I think I look at it from a different perspective. I have a full-time job. I work full-time right now until I'm able to not work full-time. And so, I don't know. I just want everybody to have it. I didn't write it for me to stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how I look at it. I don't care how you buy it. Just buy it.
So buy it, stream it. More importantly, listen to it.
I would love
that. That is the biggest compliment you can give to a songwriter. Actually listen, guys. That's why we have this show, is to tell the stories behind the music. And I think we've told a pretty good story here tonight from Casey Baker. We're going to call this episode Honoring the Consequences of Life. That's going to be the title of this one. I hope you're okay with that.
I love that.
Such a hell of a line. I read those questionnaires, and I'm really trying to pick out something that stands out to me, and that's the one that did it.
Wow.
And so I framed the entire interview based on that one line.
I'm glad you did. Because it's a true statement. I cherish every good or bad thing that ever happened to me. I really do.
Well, I hope as a fan of yours that doors will continue to be opened for you.
Wow.
And I think they will be. We're looking forward to the next single, and you are always welcome here in the living room for future singles and records and all of that stuff.
Thank you so very much for that.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And if you're tuned into our show for the very first time, we want to thank you for spending some time here with us. We are the ETX Rocks Show, and you can find us on all social media at ETX Rocks. We're located on over 60 different platforms, from YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, all of them. Just Google ETX Rocks and you're going to find us. 315 episodes. We have had over 500 guests on this show in our almost 3 years of existence. June 1st will be 3 years. That is unbelievable to me. 500 people. Yeah. Yeah, crazy. If you're watching us on YouTube, at least one of us is really pretty. So thank you for watching on YouTube. And it's that one. It's that one over there. So if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And apparently YouTube wants to make it really difficult for us middle-aged and older people. So they decided, let's put a bell too. So make sure you hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Yeah. Hit the bell. I guess that notifies you, because hitting subscribe doesn't notify you. What? Come on, YouTube. Get with it.
Ring the bell.
Well, apparently YouTube is like, they're sitting around the board meeting. Well, how many things can we make them do? All right, well, let's make them hit the like button. All right, that sounds like fun. All right, well, we can also put a comment button. All right, yeah. We'll put a comment button. How about a subscribe button? That way people can subscribe to a channel and get their future videos. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense unless we put a frickin' bell, too. Like, fire the bell guy. Whoever suggested the bell, YouTube, fire him.
Jesus.
I don't like the bell, in case you didn't.
I got that feeling.
Yeah.
It's just,
Doesn't
it's
make
like that.
All right, so when you like a Facebook page, right?
Yes.
It notifies you
that you like
through your wall.
It does.
When they post something.
That does.
You don't have to hit a bell on Facebook.
Don't have to hit a bell.
See what happened there, YouTube?
Making things way too complicated.
Exactly. But anyway, hit the bell on YouTube. I appreciate that, guys. The best way you can support us as a project is just by hitting the subscribe button on YouTube, because every subscription raises our percentages up in recommended videos. So the more subs we have, the more we're recommended, and the more artists like Casey are going to get featured in recommended videos. So that's really important to us. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. And we have a website too. It's www.etxrocks.show. It's not a .com. etxrocks.show. 10,000 hours of content on there. We're talking all 315 episodes. We're talking all live performances. Everything we've ever done is listed right there, including like pictures and cool stuff like that. So check it out. It's etxrocks.show. And as we've always said on the show for 315 episodes now, we want to thank you guys out there for always supporting live music of all genres and all styles. And don't ever forget,
ETX rocks.
That's right.
You said I'll be coming your way in a day or two. I can't wait to see you. Ooh, we'll have some fun. I'll be sure to call when I get into town. I hope you're gonna be around. I miss you. I stood in silence staring at my phone, analyzing his tone. What should I say? But before I could think my words to comfort, my mind went sober. All the haste drifted away. I must be your fool, your secret rendezvous. Only when it's convenient for you. I'm no longer your fool. I must be your fool. Holding on to what isn't true. Believing you're right, love you. You said you're being silly. What's this all about? Can we just work it out like the times before? When I get the chance to hold you, I'll remind you all the pleasures I can give you. I will give you so much more. as you roll out from my bed, forgetting all the words you said. It won't happen again. I must be your fool, your secret rendezvous. Only when it's convenient for you. I'm no longer your fool. I must be your fool. Holding on to what isn't true. Believing you're out of use. I'm no longer your fool. I'm no longer. I'm no longer. I'm no longer your fool.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show. Let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks. ETX rocks.